We have some of your DNA, but like our brother Tariq Nasheed points out, everybody has African DNA. The whitest white person has African DNA. So what? Today I'm gonna read a little bit about Dr. Charles Drew. Dr. Charles Drew could almost pass for white. If y'all look up to Dr. Charles Drew, you'll see somebody that vaguely looks like a white guy, looks Italian or something, but he was foundational Black American. According to the source, one night in North Carolina, a tired man fell asleep at the wheel, wrecked his car, and was badly injured. For a time, he lay bleeding in a little while he died without even regaining his consciousness. The man had been a star athlete, scholar, scientist, and surgeon. You see how we do everything? A star athlete, scholar, and surgeon who had already made his mark on his profession. The dead man was Dr. Charles Drew, the head of the Freedmen's Hospital in Washington, D.C. Dr. Charles Drew discovered plasma. Without plasma, so many people would drop dead. That was a foundational Black American who looked white. Well, let's go back to why a lot of us look white. A lot of people on my mom's side of the family pass. Like I'm from one of them families that got blue eyes and blonde hair. On my mother's side, on my dad's side, we're jet black. But our confusion, our genetic confusion comes from Anna, Alabama. When my great-great-grandmother, that's how close it is to me, my great-great, we call her Big Mama, was raped on the plantation. The reason, I'm not that old, the reason why it's only my great-great-grandmama. No, I'm not, hold on, my dad's, she's only my great-grandmama. Just one step above my granddaddy. The reason why my great-grandmama had all them white genes is while she was working on the plantation picking cotton, the slave owner, his name was Mr. Nobles, raped her. And she couldn't do nothing about it. She just, as the story goes in my family, washed herself off and kept picking cotton. Well, she gave birth, yeah, that's what it is. And she gave birth to a lot of kids. He kept doing it that looked white. But we never were white. We're foundational Black American. Our history is intertwined with European history. I think I heard Wani say the other day that if you test, and correct me if I'm wrong, Wani, but didn't you say if you test our DNA, a lot of us will have more English genetics than African genetics?
No.
Oh, okay, I made it up. I thought I heard you say that. Well, correct me. What'd you say?
I don't remember which part.
Well, let me ask you this. Why and from your anthropologic perspective, why do some FBAs look white?
Okay. Let me compare us to Cubans. You gotta really listen now. Cubans, their colonizer is Spanish people. Spanish people they are admixed with people of African descent. The colonizer of Brazilian people is also heavily admixed with African descent. So their color range goes from, a light-skinned, Hispanic-looking person to dark-skinned, right?
Right.
And that's the range of colors. You're not going to see a person of African descent, indigenous descent, and Portuguese or Spanish descent with flowing blonde hair and blue eyes, unless somebody slipped in and threw in some extra things. The average person of Spanish origins or Portuguese origins just doesn't look like that. And for collectively, they have a certain look. And we expect them to look a certain way. And it's usually dark hair, dark eyes. Maybe their skin is very light. Maybe their skin is very dark. That is their color range. However, that brings us to us. Our colonizer traditionally does not have nearby African ancestry. So we're talking about people that are very white. They have blonde hair, blue eyes, and they are not Spanish. They're not Mediterranean. They're not Iberian. They're white. and they have a set of characteristics. So when they began to mix with us, our color range went from dark brown to looking white to passing for white. And that's why we have a lot of Black Americans, some famous that people, some white people, oh, that person's white. Whenever we point them out, sometimes they do something scientific, sometimes they do, like you just mentioned, sometimes they've done something, but you can find someone that's dark skinned that did the same identical thing. So that's not proven anything. We have inventors of all shades.
Right.
But we're talking about, sometimes we'll point someone out and they'll say, that person's white. So what's going on here is that white people terrorized us. And so we have a knee-jerk reaction when we see someone white. We don't want to accept them. And white people don't want us to look white, because then that exposes the level of rape that has happened with our group. So that's what's happening. We have created a cutoff where if someone looks like I said, over in Brazil and Cuba, they have a color range. They know what it is. But we are denying a massive amount of our color range. We're cutting it off at, Meghan Markle, that's the line. Anything else is Meghan Markle is drawing the line. And even people will say she's not Black. She doesn't count because she has a full white father. I'm just using her as an example. But someone with her coloring could have two Black parents. And if she presented that way, for whatever reasons, we would be like, she's not Black. And that's, like I said, we have a knee-jerk reaction. We don't want to be close to someone who looks like the colonizer. It's very off-putting, very off-putting. And then we feel like they might have, dual allegiances just on looks. You don't even have to have a white parent to have a dual allegiance, because your allegiance could be to not getting my ass whipped, not getting judged, not getting racist attacks. That could be your allegiance, to slide through life and glide through without people picking on you and looking at you. So you don't have to have a white mother to have an allegiance to want to pass or to not want to be associated with Black people. But ironically, a lot of people that I've known that could pass for white just basically didn't say anything. If someone asked them, they would say they were Black. But nobody asked them. So they just, went along with life, went to the bank. Nobody questioned them. Didn't have to show ID. Didn't have to do some of the annoying things. Didn't get pulled over by the police. At first glance, these are the perks that a person that doesn't look Black enjoy. Just going through life without being second guessed, not being judged on your, when you're trying to get an apartment or a loan, just being judged by, the status quo type thing. So they do have enormous perks. But we don't claim those people, really. We know about them. We may have them in our family. But, we kind of just treat them like they're not part of the color range. And we have reasons for doing that. So that's what the room is about. And as far as that is concerned, we don't acknowledge the other part of the color range, and the white people don't want to acknowledge it because that would expose the ones that are passing. When you do your DNA, you'll see your white cousins, and you look at their DNA profile. Yeah, they got 5%, maybe 1 or 2%, 10%. They'll have all of this, and they'll be looking and appearing to be white. Now, the reason I brought this up is this is what the African doesn't know. And the African wants to pretend that our color range is much narrower than it is, so they can slip themselves in and say, see, you look like us. Well, we don't look like anybody because we look like everybody. Everybody on earth we look like. Even Asian people. We look like Khoisan. Sometimes we have Khoisan genetics. If you see Southeast African in your genetic profile, that's the new name for Bushmen, Khoisan. they rewrote it. Yeah, kind of have to ask AI because they like to play around with the names. But back to what I was saying, Africans don't like our color range, and that's one of the problems.
Facts.
We didn't agree to have the color range either. We were like, we're black. If we wanted to have a white color range, I don't think we would have adopted say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud, because that would be kind of awkward. Obviously, we leaned heavily toward brown, and I'm glad we did, because if we hadn't, we would be, let's improve the race by getting whiter and whiter, and we wouldn't exist.
Hey,
So,
Wani, that's such a wonderful, delightful point. It's so delightful because other groups of people, the Dominicans are doing it right now. The Mexicans did it, have done that Meta La Raza stuff where they tried to improve the race. But like I said, I'm from one of them octoroon looking families, and the women in my I remember growing up when I was a little boy. When we moved to a black neighborhood, my aunties would come over and me and the brothers playing basketball. They say, man, who them white ladies going to your house? My aunties look white. And but every last one of my aunties, including my mama, married the blackest man they could find because brown is attractive. Matter of fact, I like honey brown girls. You know what I'm saying? And that's rare. You don't see that in other areas. So I'm just agreeing with you, Wani.
No, I agree. We have deliberately done exactly what you said. When I went to high school, all the couples were dark skin and light skin. They're determined to make themselves medium brown, I guess. But we did. We deliberately did this. I don't know what it is, but we're the only group that did it. And but like I said, us doing that and us bigging up the brown and us being very proud of our melanin has given a lot of people the wrong idea. Like even Cubans, they'll say, oh, you guys look like this. You guys are 99% African, so you're African. So we have a whole horde of people that don't know about our background that say those types of things, and it just feeds into Africans feeling that they have some kind of hold over us or some ownership over us, because they don't feel the ownership over the Cubans because they see so many lighter skinned Cubans, and that gives them the idea that they can't approach them like that. They start to get fearful and they start to worshiping the Cubans. But we have a hidden part of our color range, and it looks like that because the colonizer is very white, and as a result, if we get mixed, we look white, and the other people don't. They still look Hispanic. There's nothing they can do to look white unless they have a real white, blonde hair, blue eyed parent. Other than that, they're just going to look Hispanic. Their color line cuts off. Ours doesn't. We could be chocolate and we could be white
in the same family. Yep. And but I got some inside game on what that's about. Africa was so colonized. We need to have a space on how Europeans created those African countries. The 54 countries, with the exception of 2, were created by white people. And I haven't been everywhere in Africa, but I've been all across West Africa. And I saw white pictures of Jesus up everywhere. They view white people as God. That psychological warfare that was embedded into Christianity really was effective on them. And I think what we're dealing, but the point you brought up that we need to explore is why do you brought up a really powerful point. I don't know if it missed some people in the room, but Wani, I'm paraphrasing her, said that they have a sense of ownership over us, but they don't act that way with the goddamn Dominicans or Dominican Republic full of jet black people. Why don't they take their ass to the DR and say, you African? Maybe because they'll get shot. Who knows? But they do it with us. And that's about to change. Because I ain't no African. I'm American and I love this fucking country. Tanya, what's on your mind, love?
Hey, everybody. Hey, family. I was going to say, I remember when I was younger, and if an African saw a light-skinned person, they would just yell, you're white. And I'm like, no, She's not white. She's light skinned. What are you talking about? You're white. They would say that, but they would be so aggressive. And I said to myself, you act like you're a little envious of it, but no, she's not white. She's black. No, you're white. And they used to say that all the time. I don't know if anybody ever had that experience, but they used to say that all the time. Anytime they saw somebody light skinned, they called you white. And I said, why do you say stuff like that? I mean, the one girl that used to say that all the time, and I'm like, no, she's not. She's black. No, she has to be white. No, she's not. Her mother and father is black. What are you talking about? But the look in her eyes is like, you know, they worship them. And I said to myself, you want to be white. You want to be close to being white. And you're envious of it, where we're claiming to be black, and we want to denounce any white that we have in us due to, you know, the rape and all the stuff that happened during slavery. We're trying to denounce that, and y'all are hollering that we are, and we're like, no, we're not. If you want to be white, you can go ahead on and be white, but we don't want to be that. We're not claiming that over here. And even as an adult working at jobs, same thing. Grown as hell, and you still got people to this day saying the same exact thing. And I'm like, y'all are obsessed with white people. And when I found out that they have these tall Jesuses in their country, and I'm like, this is why they kept saying that, because that's who they worship, and they think that being around white people is the best thing since apple pie. And they even say that white people make us better. How? They don't even like you. They don't like us either. How do they make you better? But it made a lot of sense as I got older why they kept saying that. But it's just, I went by just facial expressions, period, because people can say something to you. Their facial expression will explain, even if they say the nicest thing out of their mouth, you pay attention to their facial expression and their stance, it says something totally different. And I'm like, okay, so you want to be white. You like that. You like that you want to be told that you look white. And I'm like, I don't know why, because they don't like us. They don't like none of us. But they, you know, they think that white is right. And they're that way to this day.
Yeah, you know, Tanya, I noticed that in West Africa. I went there the first time, like, to Ghana. I was preparing myself spiritually to have like a welcome home. You know, I was preparing myself like, oh God, don't get emotional. You're going to meet your people. And when I got to, they rolling their goddamn eyes at me. Like, it was almost like a look, like a jealousy, like, what the hell? And what was real interesting is everybody wasn't that way, but enough of them were. But the ones that wasn't, that were inquisitive, asked me, he said, they'd say, you're from Mali, right? And I never been to Mali. I didn't understand it. So that prompted me to do some research on Mali. And Mali is where, if y'all look at the history, is where the Egyptians, a lot of the Egyptian leadership, the priest class, ran to the mountains of Mali. So I was like, oh, okay. It's very interesting. But what you said is true. I used to go to Macy's when I was in grad school just to celebrate passing a semester and treat myself to. And my cashier was a lady from Nigeria that had an attitude with me. I'm like, why does this lady got an attitude with me when I'm spending money with her? But I would go there for 4 years, and every time I saw her, she would get lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter. So they have a culture in West Africa of lighting themselves up, which is disgusting because they got a beautiful color. What we've established in this room, and I've established with anecdotal, like, family data, is brown skin. I'm speaking on women. Like, brown women are sexy as fuck. Like, I've had light skinned girls. I've had a couple of them, but brown is just, it's something about brown skin. I don't know. It's something magical about a brown skinned woman, but I digress. 7-4, what you got, boy? Oh, I'm sorry. Wani's had something to say then, 7-4.
I was just going to say, there's something going on in their minds with the way that they're calling people white. They kind of have conflated your nationality, like you're from a white country. Like, they'll say this, what's that word? Oh, something. I forget. In Ghana, they'll call you a name.
Onzungu.
No, it's some other name.
Oh.
And they call you this, and this is supposed to mean you're white. like you're white. But it also, like I said, the way that they think and talk, it also means you come from a white country, or you're lighter, or you're not them. It just means all kind of stuff. And it's hard to pick it apart. But because I'm looking at these people and I'm like, wait a minute, you have these African women that have lightened their skin, or you've imported, because sometimes they were importing models that were lighter skin, but they were African, to do commercials. And it's like, this woman isn't white. She's obviously just a light-skinned black person, but you're just randomly calling people white. But I don't understand it. I've tried to ask them the context, and this is what I got: a bunch of mishmash. Oh, it's your nationality. It's the way you talk. You're talking like, someone who's foreign, so we classify all of them as white. Blah, 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 blah. Bottom line, we shouldn't have to talk to people that are imbeciles. If they don't understand color ranges, tough nuts. It's a thing in the Western Hemisphere. Deal with it.
Yeah.
I want to say one more thing too. I've had an African tell me at work that we are privileged to be able to live amongst white people in this country.
Wow.
And I'm like, y'all are so fucking retarded. I'm like, why would we be privileged to that? Why would we be privileged to live amongst these type of people? And I'm like, wow, y'all really worship these people that you literally think that we're privileged. The people that we had to fight against from forever. We're privileged to be around those people. These people that murdered our ancestors, we're privileged to be around them. Y'all are sick. Y'all are real sick.
Yeah. Our scholarship of the day, before we go to Dr. Ward, comes from Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, page 166 of the ISIS papers. She says, quote, absolutely critical to the white supremacy system of religious thought was the formation of the image of a white man as the Son of God. This white male image was referred to as Christ. No matter that the prophet Jesus was a black man, because the brain computer functions most fundamentally on logic circuits, at deep unconscious levels, it automatically computes that God, the Father, is also a white man. If God is other than white, then he would have produced a black son. Thus, any person programmed to accept the Christian religion, whether conscious of it or not, has the image and concept of God as a white man in the logic network or his or her brain computer, and they have been compromised. Now, growing up in the black church, Christian church in Birmingham, Alabama, I have seen white images of Christ in Baptist churches in the hood. But moreover, after civil rights, we did something different. I don't know if every state did this, but Birmingham and Montgomery and Selma, after that civil rights movement, it was a movement for us to put a black Jesus up there. Even in my church, the church where the little girls got blown up, 16th Street Baptist Church, where I was baptized, after they blew them windows out, the next window with that bomb, the next window they put up had a brown-skinned Jesus. So we kind of countered that narrative. I don't know if the great generation knew that they were countering that narrative, but they did it. So we never really thought of God as white from my experience. But in Africa and West Africa, they think of him not only as white, but they think of him as BG's white, Justin Bieber white. But I digress. Dr. Ward, what you got, man?
Good evening. Yeah, this delineation, the reason why it's driving these Africans crazy is because we're their cash cow, and if they can't, and if we don't buy into the con anymore of African American, it messes up their hustle, and so that's why they don't care about the other black people in the diaspora, like the Jamaicans or whether the other Caribbeans or the Brazilians, which Brazil probably has more black people than the United States. So that's the reason why they're going crazy. And so in my family we got people of all skin colors, eye colors, hair colors, and textures, and and so I'll tell you a little story about me. So I had to go do a deployment in the Baltic, and it was cold, at least for me, all the way into June. It was cold, so we were still wearing our winter dress uniform, or and I was wearing jackets, sleeves, and so I was covered up, and so. And so I basically so my arms and everything else, I basically turned white because I wasn't getting any sun. And so when I come back, I think I came back about this time of year, and so I'm in Norfolk, Virginia, and so it's summertime, and so I'm wearing my summer whites, and as I'm standing deck watch, my arms start going from black to a reddish brown that my arms are. I start turning black in the sun within about an hour or so. My arms had went from white back to this reddish brown color, and I'm peeling off the burnt skin, and I said, okay, I got my nigger back. So like I said, we coming up, we coming in all spectra of colors, and
Black students, we need to know our history.
The black history we're being taught in public schools is repetitive.
As a black high school student, I want to learn more about my history in the school books.
We need to update our books.
As Black American students, we deserve an accurate depiction of what Black history truly is.
I want to see myself in these textbooks.
In the public school system, Black history is vague.
Why don't the school books ever talk about the Freedmen's Bureau?
I created the workbook for the African American family. This book helps fill in the gaps that the school books don't. Purchase the workbook for the African American family on OurStoryPublications.com and use the Cash App, $, Our Story Publications.